Rooted in resilience, inspired by nature, powered by movement. The podcasts where healing meets empowerment. Let's rise and thrive together. And now, here are your hosts, Scot and Melissa.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thrive. Welcome to Rise. She was making me laugh before we started. Welcome to Rise and Thrive, a podcast by Vital Edge Wellness Coaching. Scott Sadler with my friend Melissa, and today we're going to talk about simplifying. Ooh, baby, it's a hot topic. We've had a lot of discussions around for a very long time, but it feels like it's even more important today. So let's ground ourselves first. Melissa?
So, a little mindful moment. You could be driving, you could be on the treadmill, you could be sitting, you could be lying down. You choose. You could be watching us or just listening. So, big sigh when you're ready. Let it out. Feel the shoulders drop and the chest soften. Welcome to close your eyes if you'd like, if you're in a place to do so. Relax your jaw and your tongue. So I have an actionable step here. Your eyes could be closed or gazing down or just doing what you're doing here. But I want you to take your right or left hand, you choose, and I want you to take the tip of your fingers to the center of your chest, your sternum. And I want you just to join me with a subtle little tapping right there. I don't know if my microphone's picking up on it, but I'll just keep doing it. So you find your own rhythm, firm but gentle. And all the while, just a gentle breath in and out. And then go ahead and let the tapping come to a slow stillness. You can release the hand, a nice big sigh. And once again, let it out. If your eyes are closed, you can open them. So I just made you do some tapping. The thymus is located here. And so we just, in that few moments, induced a little relaxation to your nervous system and a little boost to your immune system. So it's a go-to for me if I feel anxious or stressed or can't sleep a little bit. Sometimes I'll just tap. So I want to offer that to you and hope you joined us there. And here we go.
Yeah, we'll do a deeper dive into tapping at some point. It's it's a powerful way to change things and to reform things and to deal with anxiety and stress and create calm. And we have some folks that we can talk to that can really help us understand that at a deeper level. So Good stuff. I'm glad you brought that up today. Simplifying. Simplify. I know myself, I've been working very diligently and craving is more of a better way to put it, craving simplification in every area of my life. And I kind of think back to my childhood. For some reason, I'm almost 60 in a month. And I think about the simple days of my childhood. And I grew up in the country, I grew up on acreage, and I would just while the days away, riding my bike with no purpose, no intention, just simple things, right? And discovering things in nature and wading in the creeks and really no responsibility, right? Which is a part of the simplification process, is reducing your level of responsibility and accountability. And I'm not living a fantasy where I think I'm going to go back and just ride my bike anywhere. That's not reality. And yet
we all crave it.
I do. And I know you've heard me talk about wanting to move out in the country and be out of the city on a daily basis and live closer to nature and have less stuff. And I'm doing those things. I'm purging things, and I'm realizing some of the things that I thought would bring me joy don't. And I'm a real believer in what if possession wise, it's got to bring me joy, or I don't need it. And so that has been very healthy for me as a way to kind of satisfy this craving I have for simplification. Well, there's some ways you focus on simplifying.
Well, as you were talking, I think that craving of simplification comes to, I want to go back to that connection to nature. We know when we get out in the trees, and this is scientific proof, that our inflammation goes down and our nervous system regulates. And we're in a culture that we accumulate stuff and busyness and do more. And our upcoming retreat, very excited about, we're going to be focusing on that, learning to rest. What does it mean to rest? That we don't have to earn that kind of rest to go enjoy a bike ride or just be. So I think about simplification, I've had a desire for it, and what I've noticed and how it's shown up for me is a lot of my people in yoga class are going to be like, I know what she's talking about, because I've been weaving in the yoga classes to do some clearing. It's been really prominent in my teachings, and what I'm supporting clients with is one way to simplify, like you said, is, clearing things, stuff, what doesn't bring you joy. But literally the clutter, when you start to clear your space, just like think about what getting out in the country means. It's space, right?
Closer to the earth.
It's not buildup of packages and boxes and books and things. And those are all, not putting those things down, but we often accumulate a lot of it. It's very rare that I walk by a house with a garage open that has space in the garage.
Mine does.
Yours does. Mine does, because it's a workout space. I think about action steps of simplifying has been, as of recent, is just clearing my space. And as we talked before we hit record, this is a desire we have, both of us working on, and what we're supporting a lot of our clients with. And it's an ongoing process, because it's easy to fall back in the accumulation phase. It's easy to fall back, especially when we're entrepreneurs and business owners, to think more. I got to do more. If business is starting to slow or whatever, what else do I got to do? So that's been kind of immediate for me right now, to be like, I've been doing school for the last 8 months and been in that work mode in that way. And that's coming to a close. And I want to be real mindful that I don't go right back into overfilling that time with stress and worry or busyness. And I want to redefine that. And the word simplify keeps coming up. Mm-hmm. And so I'm in the midst right now, I'm going to be honest, is defining that for myself. What does that look like? What does that look like in my home? What does it look like for my work? And I'm working on it.
Yeah, it is not just about reducing stuff,
Mm-hmm.
stuff meaning
Material.
material items.
That could be part of it.
But it could be simplifying your relationships. And what does that mean? We tend to complicate things as humans. And I know I've mentioned this quote before on the podcast, and it keeps coming up for me lately, is my age is teaching me it's time to use the wisdom I've acquired over the years. And that part of that wisdom is that less is more. And thinking about material items, we have to store them, clean them, insure them, right? I remember having a classic car. I had a beautiful 1966 Buick Grand Sport Wildcat version. It was an amazing car. I had all the original paperwork. It was a muscle car, convertible, and I just loved that car. I couldn't wait to get the car. And I had it for several years. But I realized I reached a point where, first of all, it's huge. It took up my entire garage. I started getting nervous driving it because it's this valuable antique that was just going up and up in value. So I didn't want to drive it much. I wasn't a car show guy. I had it in plenty of car shows because car guys wanted me to bring it, but I'm not a guy to sit around in a little chair and talk about the specs on my car, right? And so
We support those that do. But
yes, of course. I love going to car shows,
right. Yeah.
but it wasn't my thing. It wasn't my, I like my car, but I didn't want to sit there all day. And it lost its luster. And so I finally sold the car, and I had this sense of freedom. Made a little money on it, so that was good. But I had this sense of freedom, of release, almost the same as I had when I brought it in. And that was one of many times that I've brought something or someone or, a way of doing things into my life. And I realize it's dated now. I've gotten what I needed from this, and I need to move on now. Or I need to let that person or that process go by the wayside. So simplifying for me is that holistic look of, is this working for me still? This process or this thing.
Well, I feel like our topic is honing in on simplify today as beginning one of those first steps of simplifying what's around you, because we could go into a lot of detail in time. I think it'll grow into other pieces. I just come back to how my inspiration of like starting to clean things out, or just like you're saying, that relief, that sense of freedom that comes of, my clients love the quote that I use of releasing the attachment to the outcome, is releasing the attachment to stuff, the freedom that you have from that. And, my process of honing in my yoga classes for my people and myself included, I watched through these last couple months of individuals reaching out to me and sending me pictures just by me talking in class about how I'm going to clean this out and I've gotten rid of this. And it's so freeing to be like, this stuff is sitting here. Somebody else could be using it. And I got pictures sent to me from clients the last couple months of like, look at what I did. They cleaned out their garage.
That's
or
awesome.
they've done this stuff. And to me, that's part of the journey of simplifying, to get ourselves back to that wholeness that we're seeking, that nature, that connection, because we get distracted by stuff. And I like what you said about what brings you joy. I think there's an author out there that writes a book on simplifying that is like, if you look at something and if it doesn't bring you joy, get rid of it. And I remember learning, and I think this was before this author, because I have a dear best friend we've been friends since 6th grade. And I remember her saying, and maybe she read the book, I don't know, I can't remember, but I just learned it from her. Whenever she sees something and it's a item that she wants to buy or have because it catches her eye or whatever, she looks at it and one, does it bring her joy? And two, if I do purchase this, what at home is going to go? So that I don't continue to accumulate. We know so many people going through that phase where, parents are getting older and transitioning and helping them with their homes or whatever may happen. A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And that simplify, I guess that's what's coming up in our topic today simplify is a big word. It could be so many avenues. But I think one of those foundational action pieces you can walk away with today is take a look at your space. What can you clear? That, to me, that, like you said, it's freeing. And we want to share that with you.
Start small. Start with a drawer.
Yeah, it feels so good.
Fulfilling. It's so fulfilling.
It feels so good just to I have to share a story. I have had this old piano.
The piano.
I can't tell. Maddie was like probably, I don't know when she started piano lessons, 5, 6, I can't remember. We were given this piano that was just like an old, imagine one of those brown pianos in the,
the saloon.
No, music class that you went to music if you had music in elementary school. Over the years, I've toted that thing around, and it's heavy. It's a beast.
How many homes?
4.
Yeah.
Probably 4.
This is crazy.
I tried to give it away so many times and just didn't have the heart to destroy it. Right. And it was time in the universe. I was really doing some clearing, and my clients, we were all doing clearing. And it was kind of a seasonal. It was something's happening in the universe, and put it out there to a dear being I thought of. And this person is so musically inclined that it was just like, I've been offered pianos in the past, but yours was something, it was timing. And I was able to find a home for it. And I've recently gotten pictures of her sharing with me how it is all cleaned up and how it did survive all those 4 moves amazingly. And she said it was easy to get it tuned up and it's playing beautiful music now.
Nice.
So
win-win.
Exactly. In that regard, are you holding on to stuff that somebody else could be having joy with?
Yeah.
And I also gave her my flute. I did play the flute for years, for a few years. And I just felt so good about, it's been sitting on a shelf. That's been traveling with me since 9th grade, since 6th grade. It's been just, and again, it was an amazing piece, an instrument that is now bringing this individual joy to play. And so anyways, that just makes me happy to think that, it's an actionable step that often if we feel like we're doing something for someone and giving a gift, it's like, look through your home and say, how can some of this stuff be bringing joy to others or serve others? Because it's like you said with the car, it served its purpose for you for a bit and now you were ready to pass it on. And I bet someone else is loving that thing.
A man flew in from New Mexico and drove it home and he's happy.
And
so
see?
For me, what comes up for me when you talk about this is books. Several years, because we're both book junkies.
Turn the camera if you want to see.
Yeah, it's all right next to us. It's been a few years ago now, several years ago, that I finally made the decision to let go of books. I was reading more on my iPad and still like a book in my hand, but I was traveling a lot and I liked the convenience of the iPad. So I was in between 2 worlds and I boxed up a lot of books and took them to the used bookstore. I just recently told you this story.
They give you
they gave me credits for more books.
Like, wait a minute.
And I took it gladly. I'm like, yes. I'm like, wait, am I defeating the purpose? I never used all those credits. I'm sure they've expired.
You could pass it on.
And I took a lot of the books I kept and I put them in a shelf in a closet up high. And it's full. And just recently, that's got to have been 6-7 years ago. And just recently I see those books. I'm like, I have not touched those books. Not once have I gotten up there to take a book off that shelf. And so box is sitting in my bedroom as we speak. And I'm going to go through those books again. And I'm going to give the gift of books to someone else. And I'm going to be really aggressive or assertive now because I'm very nostalgic. And so I kept those books because they meant something to me or they were so good I was going to read them again. And there's some fiction books up there that I'm not going to read again. I know that now.
But you needed that time. So we do want to appreciate each of you at your own journey.
That's what I was going to say. Everyone has their own timing and journey. I will say this though. I have never, that I can think of, gotten rid of anything that I've later gone, why did I do that? Maybe the occasional tool where like, man, I bought that. Now I got to go buy it again. But not anything that I go, oh, wow, I really wish I would have kept that car or that book as an example for today. I've not ever done that. It's just been freedom. And by the way, you mentioned it earlier, more shit comes. It just keeps showing up.
I know. You're like, I'm going to clear this all out. And then you're like, how did this happen? It's like back again. Yeah.
My dad tells a great story. Him and his wife recently remodeled and they had to move everything out to put in floor. And they had a lot of stuff in all their closets and all their drawers. And they're like, oh my God, they got a huge dumpster. And they were filling it and taking things to Goodwill and things. And my dad said, you know what I recognized after being in this house for 35 years? We come home, we bring in bags of stuff, bags out of the trunk. We come in, you open the trunk, you take bags out, you take things in. Never once
did we take bags
are we
out?
taking bags out and taking it out of this house. It's just come in. And I thought, that is so funny. First of all, very funny. My dad tells a great story. And then secondly, it is so true. And they never took the time to kind of balance and do both, like your friend.
Right.
If I get this,
this goes out.
That's what I do for t-shirts. If I buy a t-shirt, if I'm traveling, I'm like, I want that t-shirt. I'm going, okay, when I get home, some t-shirts got to go. Because how many t-shirts do you need?
Right.
So that is a great philosophy. Otherwise, you pay the price later, or your children someday pay the price later, right? Like you, I moved my mom out of our childhood home of all those years, and oh my gosh, it was crazy. crazy.
Well, it's really trying to tap into what do you need to live and to enjoy,
To live happily.
happily and simply without the clutter. There is a great, I don't remember what it's called. Search it on maybe Netflix. I watched it a long time ago, but it was about minimalists.
Yeah,
And
there's two brothers or partners, and they have a whole movement, if you've not heard of them, called the Minimalists.
Yeah.
And they did that Netflix thing, and they've got a huge following. They've written books, and there's a magazine.
I love what the guy did. It sounds similar to what your dad was thinking about. Like they had to move all their stuff out to remodel, right? I love what he did is he moved everything out in boxes. And then when he moved back in, I think to the same location, or maybe it was different, but only opened what he needed. And then after umpteen months, what didn't get opened
Bye-bye.
got donated. And so, I mean, that's to an extreme, right? You're ready to really, so we can take this day by day is just like, it's so freeing. And I think that's part of our theme of building this community and joining with you and wanting to feel better and thrive is we got to simplify.
And support each other in the process.
And define what simplify is for you today. That today we just talked about this one aspect of simplify of like, what does not bring you joy in your environment, in your space, and start to support yourself to feel a little freedom there.
I'm reminded of a colleague I knew in the community here in the Salem area whose daughter was going to do a stint in Vietnam teaching English as a second language. And she was affluent. She came from an affluent family. And her mom said, she's not going to be able to make it. She's never going to make it. She needs her pretty things. She needs her Nordstrom rack, and she needs her, all of her products. And after several months, I saw her again and I said, how's your daughter doing? How was it in Vietnam? Well, she's still there. And amazingly, she lived in a little shack, and all she had in her kitchen was a wooden bowl and a wooden spoon. She had a cooler that the Iceman brought her ice every day to keep her minimal amount of food cool. She had a bed and she had a bathroom. And every day she'd go walking down to the market, which is about 5 blocks away, and she'd pick up her food for the day. She'd talk to all the vendors. And she said she was absolutely thriving. I got goosebumps. She realized through this other way of living that all the stuff in her life that she thought was important was not important at all. Mm-hmm. But talking to the 85-year-old lady who sold rice at the stand, or talking to the man who brought her ice every day for her cooler, and seeing how happy people were. Most people, indigenous people especially, are some of the happiest people on earth because they don't have the stress and pressure and complications that stuff or titles or trying to always gain the next rung in the ladder bring. And I would ask you to sit with this in your life, look around your room, look around where you feel driven to, and there's nothing wrong with being driven, and ask, is it bringing me joy? Is it helping me reach my highest and greatest good? Sometimes sideways movement or backwards movement is the right movement. It's not always striving ahead.
For more. We live in the culture of more, right? And just like you said earlier, like the more things you get, the more you have to take care of them, and the more you have to, you're actually adding more complications because we're good at that in our culture, consumerism. And so we can change that pattern.
Yes. And we teach our kids a different way as well. So I think it's a good place to stop today.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, and check us out at vitaledgewellnesscoaching.com, and always reach out to us if you have any questions or if you have a topic you'd like to see. And please rate us on your favorite podcast app and leave us a review. It really helps with our listeners and helps with our growth. And we want to say thank you very much for listening today. And take care of each other, and don't forget to take care of yourself. We'll see you next time on Rise and Thrive.
Namaste.
Thanks for tuning in to Rise and Thrive, a podcast by Vital Edge Wellness Coaching. If you found this episode meaningful, please rate, review, and share it with someone who might need it. For upcoming retreats and to join the Vital Edge Wellness community, head to vitaledgewellnesscoaching.com. Let's rise and thrive together.